Hi there, I'm Ethan with thehonestcarpenter.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to replace an old porch column like the one behind me with a new porch column. So the key to making this work is getting the weight of the roof off of the existing column so that we can take it out and then put a new column in. To do that, carpenters pretty much always use a tool called a post jack. It's only about a $50 tool. It's capable of holding tremendous amounts of weight, up to 10,000 pounds in some cases or more. And it's adjustable and it's telescopic, so it lets you go from the floor of your porch up to the beam that is resting on the column and produce a little upward pressure to get that load off of the column. Now it's important to know that you should always have a structural engineer tell you that it's okay to use a certain type of column in a certain situation. A lot of them are very standard, but carpenters themselves can't even do that legally. It's up to a structural engineer to say that the column you're replacing with has enough load capacity to carry the amount of weight on the roof. So always keep that in mind. So here you can see I've gone ahead and set my post jack into place, but I haven't lifted the weight off the column yet. I want to show you the components of the post jack itself. This is the base, and it's important to note that you should always use a scrap block to go underneath the jack because it's going to create a lot of weight. You want to disperse that weight. You don't want to break a brick or bruise a piece of wood down there. And you always want your post jack sitting on one of these little metal plates. I'm going to put screws in here to keep the plate from moving around or kicking out, which is extremely important. But the plate just looks like this. And I generally put the circular side up because it's got a flat bottom. Now, moving up, get a little step stool here. You see the same thing repeated at the top with a block and a plate, but then you have something called a screw jack. And to give you a better idea of that, here's another one. A screw jack, as you can see, this little cylinder can wind up and down the length of the jack. And you put the jack into the top of the post and you raise it up until it pushes your block and your plate up against the beam, just like that, that is holding all the columns. And you just get it set, and you can honestly tighten it with your fingers at first, and then I'll show you how to begin to raise it up by putting a little pressure on it when I get screws put in my plate and make sure nothing will kick out. The other thing that you probably want to see now is, as you can see, the jack is telescopic. It has two pieces. Here's an upper, here's a lower, and the upper mates with the lower through all of these little holes that are inside of it, like that. And you just pass these bolts through and you tighten the nuts down with an adjustable wrench, and that locks the two together. And here you can see my little tree of screws. I didn't want to go all the way into the beam, and these are 1 5/8, so I just set them at the inner edge of these circles on the plates, and now my plate is firmly locked in place there. I'm actually pulling on it pretty hard. So now we can begin to take some weight off this column here. The one thing you want to do though is go ahead and look around your beam and look for water damage, look for signs that the beam could be coming apart in there, because these are just trim pieces that are hiding probably 2 sandwiched framing pieces inside. That's what's carrying the load, and especially not the one on the side, but this long one across the front is a series of beams coming across and landing on all these columns, and they're carrying the roof load that actually exists out here over the porch. And this is a very shallow porch, so there's not that much roof load on it, but go ahead, make sure you're not seeing obvious water damage. It's just good to assess before you get started. So I'm just going to use a very large adjustable wrench to fit into kind of a narrow section on the neck of the screw jack here. I'm going to begin to turn it, I believe it is counterclockwise. And a quarter turn really moves it, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. But the key to doing this is going very slowly and listening. And you'll begin to hear material separate at the top of the post. And it'll be caulk and nails pulling out just a little bit. It's just these tiny, tiny little cracks and pops. Stop every half turn or so and assess your post. So I'm going to put down my adjustable wrench, and I'm just going to begin to kind of grab my post and just push it and pull it a little bit. I can hear it wanting to move. So I'm going to keep going until I get the weight off this post, but I am not going to lift it up much. I'm only going to lift it up till I have maybe an 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch of clearance, and then I'm going to start cutting away all this caulk and stuff so I can pull this cap down and then get the actual column itself loose. I got all the caulk and stuff holding this cap on chiseled away, and I've managed to pry it down enough that you can see the actual connection of the column to the underside of the beam trim. And if you look, the column's not even at the top. It's because this is like a 3-part metal column, and you always see this, one of the parts cut short. So the only part that's actually even really holding the beam is this like outer, I don't know, 120 degrees of it or something like that. So I'm going to continue to bring the screw jack up until I'm going to see a line begin to form right here. And when that happens, I'm going to be able to just take this column, I'm just going to be able to slide it right out of place. There, I've got my column removed. I did not raise the beam up even a 1/16 more than I needed to. You want to do it as little as possible. And do the same thing right here, where I'm going to come over. And I'm just going to look and make sure I don't see any rot, that no water was falling on the top of the beam or something or getting in there. This really looks pretty good. This is going to have to be cleaned up for paint, but I'm going to be able to set a new post right here in this corner where the old one sat, and it'll ride down and it'll land where the old one sat down there on the corner of the brick row lock. So here I'm pulling a measurement for my replacement column. As you can see, I have my tape dropping all the way down and sitting where the column's going to sit on the brick row locks down there. I come back up and you're just going to sight straight across the bottom level of the beam, and we're showing something like 89 and 9/16, but I'm going to take off 3/16 because that's about how much I jacked it. So we're probably going to drop down to like 89 and 3/8 for the total overall height of the replacement column. I'm going to be replacing with, it's like a 5x5 column, and it's has a load capacity of I think about 3,000 pounds. It says here on the packaging. It should be plenty for the corner we're dealing with. It is also what we call a turn column. So it has a square base, then a turned section in the middle, and then a square top. You can cut either end, and in this case I'm going to have to, because the base is about 42 inches tall, but the unit overall is too big to fit in our opening. So I'm going to have to cut it down to fit in our opening, but I need to make sure that I leave enough square base that I can put like a 38-inch railing that'll stop somewhere right about here and start at the bottom. So I'm going to have to cut some off the bottom and some off the top, so I'm not cutting too much off the bottom. I got to leave enough room for the railing that I'm going to run. And the other thing to consider is that you don't ever want a wooden railing sitting on brick, because brick absorbs water and it can transfer it to wood. Wood will drink it right up like a straw, and it'll begin to rot this column. So they make little custom bases. It's exactly a 1/2 inch thick that fits the footprint of this post. So when I'm doing my math to figure out what size to cut the column at, I need to take also into consideration that I'm going to be adding a 1/2 inch base, and I'll also use these fasteners to attach our base to the underside of the column. And I'll show you one other thing. You want to seal the underside of the column after you cut it, but I'll show you how to cut the base with a circular saw, since that's probably what most people have. Got my cut lines laid out. I'm going to show you real quick what we're dealing with cutting through here. This is what the underside of the column looks like, and these are 1 1/4 inch pieces of what look like oak, made into like a square column. So I'm going to cut each side of this thing. I'm going to roll it over and make the same cut on every side. And to make sure I'm getting all the way through it, I went ahead and set my blade depths to be a little bit below this mark line, which represents the thickness of any of the walls. And to guide the blade, I'm going to use my speed square. And I have made some template lines for myself. So I'm going to cut on basically this side of the template line. I'm going to try to take half of that line with each cut, and I will roll the thing as I'm cutting, and I'll shoot that from a distance so you can kind of see it, and I can talk to you about it. All right, I got my saw set up, ready to go. I got my speed square. So I'm going to use my speed square to guide the edge of my sole plate and bring the tooth of my saw blade right to the outer edge of that line that I marked for myself. I'm going to do a little test chop when I first get the blade going. If it looks good, I'm going to push all the way through and make sure I'm holding the square tight. One side. Now I just roll it See, my blade is not perfectly square. That's okay. This is going to set up each side for the cut. That's it. There's your removed piece. Nice big square end, and I can do the same thing at the other end. I trimmed both ends, and I got the thing the length that I want, and I tested it with the little foot piece that we're going to put on. Something you definitely want to do before you actually install it, though, is seal the bottom end. That's why it says paint before installation here. They specifically mean the bottom, and this to prevent water getting soaked up into the end grain of the wood. I don't like to paint. I like to go ahead and caulk. And I'll just give you a little example here. I smear on some caulk, and I rub it into the end grain, and you want to fill this end grain up with caulk, and that way water won't be able to get sucked up into it. And you also want to go up into the hole in the bottom and do the same thing for like a couple inches or something. It's messy, but this will really protect this wood from wanting to take on any moisture over time. Column set in place here, and I plumbed it up as best I could with the level. To some degree, you're kind of predetermining where you're going to put the thing by where the roof or the original framers built the roof. But this thing's plumbed up pretty good. I brought it out close to the edge of the brick row lock, but I tried to back it off as much as possible, and it's sitting up on our little plastic block. These plastic blocks come with an anchor for fastening down into the brick, but I don't always use them when I'm going to run a railing, because the railing going back to the house and going over to the other post is going to keep this post right where we want it, and we're not really going to have to worry about anybody knocking it out of place. So I'm going to go up and let the weight down on the column. This process is just the reverse of the one we used to lift it. I'm going to rotate my adjustable wrench counterclockwise on the neck of the screw jack, and you can see our little gap and above the column, and it'll begin to vanish as I back off the pressure on the screw jack. You just want to come down steadily. You're going to have to keep adjusting your grip on the screw jack. If you can't do a full circle, you can see just a little bit. It's lowering in there. That gap's starting to close, and you can test it by just shimmying the column a little bit. It's already got some weight on it, so I'm going to take the weight all the way off, but I will be careful while I'm doing it. As a quick follow-up to this job, it can be a good idea to go ahead and toenail the top of the column into the beam just to give it a little extra support up here. Gravity is going to hold this thing in place, but it really can't hurt to have a couple nails toenailed in. For more tips and articles, check out my blog, thehonestcarpenter.com. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe below.